Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview, and here's what we are facing. Well, we're back, and apparently in the nick of time. Government control of media outlets around the world is on the rise, according to the State Media Monitor 2024 report. The portion of editorially independent media among all state-controlled and public media around the globe dropped from 20% in 2021 to 16% in 2024.
One of the big ways to convert democracy to an autocracy is to control the media.
And with only 6 companies controlling 90% of the media?
And the big tech companies controlled by the oligarchs.
It's easy to see that getting honest, fact-based information is getting harder and harder. You may recall our reporting in March of 2020 when all the independent news outlets in Russia were forced off the air.
Oh, yes.
Putin at his authoritarian best.
Well, it looks like we are headed in that direction. It is no surprise that with what Elon Musk,
What's that smell?
has done with social media site formerly known as Twitter.
All disinformation and pro-maggot propaganda 24/7, 365.
Well, this has led to some new competition. The social media site Blue Sky has been gaining momentum, mostly as a direct response to the changes made by Elon Musk.
Ooh, that smell.
Can't you smell that smell?
The latest example comes from the Washington Post, the newspaper owned by Jeff Bezos.
Oligarch!
The Post editorial staff had created the endorsement of Kamala Harris in early October, but after the owner, Jeff Bezos,
Oligarch.
reviewed it, management decided not to endorse a candidate. The situation at the LA Times, owned by Patrick Soon-Shiong, did the same.
And that led to canceled subscriptions.
And staff resignations followed in protest.
LA Times editorial's editor, Mario Garza, resigned because the Times was remaining silent on the contest in dangerous times. Now, Pulitzer Prize-winning cartoonist Ann Telnis resigned from the Washington Post in response to the killing of a political cartoon. This cartoon, drawn by Telnis, depicts tech titans abasing themselves before the convicted felon president-elect. The caricatures resemble Jeff Bezos,
Oligarch.
Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg,
Oligarch!
and OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman,
Oligarch.
all shown bringing the convicted felon president-elect sacks of cash. Los Angeles Times owner and billionaire medical innovator Patrick Soon-Shiong was shown bearing a tube of lipstick.
Oligarch!
Also lying prostrate was Mickey Mouse, the avatar of the Walt Disney Company.
Not Mickey!
Yes, well, last month, Disney settled a Trump defamation suit against ABC News by agreeing to pay $15 million to an as-yet non-existent Trump Foundation and $1 million towards his legal fees.
How the mighty have fallen.
And if you are a Scottish lord, then
I am Mickey Mouse.
Now, Jennifer Rubin is the latest defector from the Washington Post. On January 13th, she announced that she had resigned from the newspaper to begin writing at a Substack named The Contrarian. In her own words,
one of the reasons I left the Washington Post, the main reason I left the Washington Post, is this is time for choosing, as they say. This is a time for unqualified, unabashed, independent defense of democracy. The mainstream media has failed us. It is failing us. You do not equivocate. You do not dish up false equivalents, and you do not give $1 million to Donald Trump and call yourself a free press.
Hear, hear.
Indeed.
So to that end, we are back. We will do our best to provide you with the independent reporting, facts, truth, and biting sarcasm you have come to expect from But Frankly Pierce News. We have never been owned by anyone, and we are not financially supported by anyone.
Which explains the state of our bank accounts.
But let's talk about what's happening in the news. It is somehow fitting that President Joe Biden's farewell address to the nation was overshadowed by the dramatic announcement that after months of negotiation, backed by the United States and facilitated by Egyptian and Qatar mediators, negotiators from the Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire and to exchange Israeli hostages taken on October 7, 2023 for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
Finally.
Biden hit the ground running on day one, so not surprising, really.
However, there is a snag on the Israeli side.
Of course there is.
At the 11th hour, the day after the leaders of Qatar and the United States announced a ceasefire in Gaza, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appears to have made a rare political mistake, painting himself into a corner. The agreement announced in Doha on Wednesday still needs to be approved by Israel's cabinet, and Netanyahu may not have had the level of support going into the final talks that he needed. The cabinet meeting has yet to be scheduled. He faces a stark choice: give in to extremist right-wing demands to return to war after a 42-day ceasefire, or accept support from the political opposition and give them veto power over his future in office.
Oh, wait. If he gives in and plans to go back to war,
That will tank the ceasefire before it gets started.
It most certainly will. Netanyahu needs to decide what is more important: ending the war or letting go of some of his power.
well, power corrupts.
And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Southern California is reeling from a horrifying inferno whose danger even now has not passed. Still, the valiant efforts of firefighters and rescue workers perseveres, with an additional support from Colorado, Nevada, as well as Canada and Mexico. Assistance even was offered from the most unlikely of places.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has offered to send 150 Ukrainian first responders to help battle the massive wildfires.
Now that is impressive.
And they've been under siege from Russia for almost 3 years now.
But, in a typical display of his casual cruelty, the convicted felon president-elect posted this.
Trump shared a meme on Truth Social of fires raging behind the Hollywood sign, which was photoshopped to read, "Trump was right."
Well, he's certainly not left.
But to make matters worse, GOP members in an "I told you so" moment are speaking out about not providing aid unless certain conditions are met.
I expect that there will be strings attached to money that is ultimately approved.
I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view.
Before we put funds into place, we've got to find out exactly how we're going to hold these leaders accountable and what sort of policy changes are required.
There can't be a blank check on this.
They don't deserve anything, to be honest with you, unless they show us they're going to make some changes.
Really, Tommy?
I don't recall language like that when Alabama needed federal help.
Big talk from the state near the bottom in math, reading, and test scores.
Maybe the next time you get hit with a hurricane, we have a little parent-teacher conference about bringing those scores up before you can get aid.
No, they would get the money anyway, because that is the function of government, despite what Senator Tuberville says on Newsmax. In a recent Daily Show episode, Jon Stewart summed this up perfectly.
But if you're going to attach strings, I still think this announcement was too far.
Lost everything in a natural disaster? Introducing a new crowdfunding site from congressional Republicans. Go F You. Go F You is the #1 source for politicians to dangle money over your head while delivering a monologue about why they hate your politics. No matter how hard life gets, there are people who care about your mayor's DEI policies. So start a Go F You today, then sit back and wait for the helpful input about transgender athletes to roll in. Go F You. Available in all blue states and any cities where the mayor is black or gay.
And now we explore the world of the unlikely and bizarre with...
The deuce, you say?
In Rome, Italian soccer club, Lazio.
I think they call it football there.
Actually, I believe it is called calcio.
Regardless of the name, Lazio has fired the man who handled the club's eagle mascot after he posted photos and videos online of his own prosthetic.
Willie. He did what now?
Falconer Juan Bernabe shared the images on his private social media accounts after undergoing surgery for a
penis, the male reproductive organ
implant, which he said was for non-medical reasons.
Uh-huh.
Bernabe also gave an interview to controversial Italian radio show La Zanzara and elaborated on his reasons for undergoing the procedure. Bernabe stated that he felt very proud and more masculine being a part of Lazio.
Oh, good for you.
The club clearly did not feel the same as it fired him shortly afterward.
Shocker.
No, soccer.
I still think it's football.
Calcio.
Whatever. Due to the photographic images and video and the statements that accompanied them, Lazio announced that it has stopped with immediate effect all relationship with this person, given the seriousness of his behavior. The statement continued with, the club realizes and shares the pain that the fans will feel at the loss of the Eagle in the next home games, but believes that it is not possible to be associated with a person who, by his own initiative, has made the continuation of this relationship unacceptable.
So why the eagle? Just a gimmick?
The eagle, a bird that symbolizes ancient Rome, traditionally flies over Stadio Olimpico before home games. Bernabé said he had no regrets about sharing the images of his
one-eyed monsters.
I think he might be having one now.
Lazio previously suspended Bernabé in 2021 when he was filmed performing a fascist salute at the end of a match and chanting Duce, Duce, which was the name used to praise former fascist Italian leader Benito Mussolini. Bernabé said in a radio interview that regarding Il Duce, or Mussolini, I admire him so much.
So what you're saying is the guy is a
wiener?
So, welcome to 2025. It is 4 days until the convicted felon, failed former president, will be sworn into office. Again.
Based on past experience, are they going to dispense with the oath this time?
Can we attach a lie detector when he swears to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution?
What happens next? Watch this space. This has been by Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. And you tell me, over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
Yeah.